I want to begin by saying that I'm an optimist about what can be achieved in the next years. I'm saying that from the beginning because in 5 minutes I'm going to sound very pessimistic. But we have lots of time together. Oh, sorry. My name is Pat Mooney. I work with the Etc. Group. I'm based in Canada. We're an international organization. We have 2 days together, so it means that we can go from my pessimism, or not my pessimism, my pessimistic comments to the optimistic comments as well. I'll say 4 things. The first is that in this converging time, where we talk about convergence in the World Social Forum of coming together, we all know also that crises are converging. They're coming together. The food, the fuel, the climate, the financial, all the F's have come together at the same time. The solutions being proposed to us for these crises are also a convergence and a vast and terrible simplification of what has to be done. When we're told that there is a crisis in terms of energy resources and raw material supply, a limit to growth in a sense, we're being told that the solution to that is a technology called nanotechnology, which allows industry to construct, to manufacture from the level of atoms and molecules, to build from the bottom up. And what that means really in terms of capitalism is that they are saying to us that we no longer have raw materials. The mineral resources of Bolivia or the mineral resources of Chile or Zimbabwe or Zambia are not any longer important. That nanotechnology makes it possible to take materials at that scale, the nanoscale of 1/1,000,000th of a meter, and turn anything into anything. So there are no critical resources. The new technologies will allow copper in Chile to be replaced by sand from the beaches of Rio de Janeiro. That the platinum and the palladium of Africa can be replaced by the nickel and the cobalt of Canada, and so on. That means a terrible and rapid change in economies. And as much as we may welcome the elimination of terrible mineral mining activities, it has also terrible risks for the economies of many countries. And of course, this convergence, saying that everything is basically functioning the same at this nano scale, is not really true. It's partly true. It will disrupt the economies of the world. It will disrupt the prices of raw materials. But it will only partially work. But it will partially work and it will cause chaos. Secondly, we're being told that don't worry about the decline of fossil fuels, of peak oil. That can be taken care of. Anything that a dinosaur can do can be done by a living plant as well. So we no longer need to depend upon fossilized carbon. We can use living carbon to build our fuels, our foods, our factories, our everything, our plastics. Everything can be made. The $13 trillion fossil fuel or fossil materials economy, fossil carbon economy, can be replaced by a new biomass economy that can make anything. All we need to do is control the biomass of the planet. And the shocking figure, the most shocking figure I know, is one used by venture capitalists all the time now, which is that only less than, 25% of the world's annual terrestrial biomass has been commodified, is actually in the capitalist marketplace, which means that the capitalists are looking to control the remaining 75% of the world's annual terrestrial biomass that has not yet been commodified and monopolized by them. So we have now a time when there's a new generation of companies, what we call the new biomasters, who propose to control the biomass of the planet. And the poor and the hungry will have to compete with the plastics and the paints and the other toys that the industrial biomasters want to control. The third threat to the planet and convergence that we're facing is in the context of climate change. We're being told, don't worry, industry has already geoengineered the planet into the climate change crisis of today. That's why we have climate change. Industry has converted the planet into this crisis. So just give industry one more chance. Let industry geoengineer the planet out of this crisis. And they propose two basic solutions for this. One is to absorb greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide, into the ocean by providing iron nanoparticles on the surface of the ocean that will allow the absorption of greenhouse gases that will sink to the bottom of the ocean. So as long as they're allowed to transform the biology of the surface of the ocean, then they'll take care of greenhouse gases for us. And secondly, they're saying we can reduce the temperatures in the stratosphere by what they call solar radiation management, which means that you blast sulfates into the stratosphere or salt spray to whiten the clouds, and that reflects the sunlight and lowers the temperatures. What that fundamentally means, though, is that a handful of companies with 2 or 3 countries, most notably the United States and the United Kingdom, are saying that, trust us, we will have our hands on the planetary thermostat and we'll take care of you. Or we should be trusting that the governments who created the problem in the first place and the industries who created the problem in the first place, who have not had the courage to tell their people that there is a crisis, who have denied the crisis, are now saying that they will take care of us. And that's impossible. Those discussions, they sound absurd. Geoengineering sounds absurd, are actually ongoing now in the US Congress and in the UK Parliament. And major research work is being done by major scientific institutions, including the Royal Society in the UK and the US National Academy of Sciences on this. The fourth thing, and I'll stop with this, is because of these convergences, because of this utilization of massive and powerful new technologies that deal with the biomass and the nanomaterials of the planet and try to geoengineer the planet, industry and governments are saying they need to have a new alliance between industry and government which protects them and gives them the kind of power and control they need over planetary systems. And they need to then have this alliance between themselves which really curtails our democracies even more than they are today. And you see from 5 years ago now, the report that came from the United Nations universities talking about we no longer need to worry about weapons of mass destruction, we need to worry about the massively destructive individual. Governments and industry need to be able to monitor all of us all of the time to make sure that we don't use resources and technologies in ways that are dangerous for everybody. So they want our buy-in to this new kind of control over us as human beings to make sure that we don't do what they want to do to the planet. Those are the threats, I think, that are facing our civilization and which are moving very rapidly now to be imposed upon us in each of these areas. I know this sounds a bit crazy, and I'll put on the table afterwards some documentation for what I'm saying. It's available also on our website, and it will be in English and French and Spanish.
Thank you.
The website is www.etcgroup, that's all one word, etcgroup.org.